Equanimity is the enjoyment of full participation, the opposite of cynicism. And it's not perhaps at first it's an approach or a way of being or a way of moving through the world or a choice. But what starts to become obvious is that it's an aspect of the way let's say human consciousness comes into synchronicity with unbound nature. That's what it feels like. So there's a deeper truth to all of these aspects of realization that can be found in nature. I'm going to chop it up probably because I'm trying to do it out of memory, but Emerson, in a really, really cool essay on friendship, said, I knew a man who under a certain religious frenzy, the thing he said before this was, all men we meet require some civility, some way of interfacing with them because of their own perceptions about themselves, right? Every man alone is sincere, but at the entrance of a second person, hypocrisy begins. We parry and fend the approach of our fellow man by compliment, by amusement, by gossip, right? We find the thing, let's find the thing to talk about so we're both comfortable, so we're not in an uncomfortable place of true connection and authenticity, right? Anyway, so then he says, I knew a man who under a certain religious frenzy cast off all this drapery and spoke directly to the conscience of every person he encountered, and that with great dignity and insight. And this is the cool part. He said, at first everyone agreed he was mad and resisted him, but continuing for some time in this course, and this is the important part, as indeed he could not help doing. Why could he not help doing it? Because it's a force of nature. At first it's something you do, and then it's something that you realize just is. And your job is to surrender. Your job is to be surrendered. Not put your finger on the scale and let love move through you, or just let acceptance move through you. True acceptance of whatever's happening in the moment. So continuing as indeed he could not help doing for some time in this course, he came to the advantage of bringing every person into true relation with him. There's so much authenticity that people just pick it up and know it. They know you're not bullshitting them anymore in any way at all, even by being too nice, people pleasing, any of that. It's just truth, just to speak truth. That's to me is equanimity. I would say it's the most significant and the beginning of the end of the dissolution of resistance. There can still be resistance as long as there's any mind identification, as there's dualistic constructs and so forth. But with equanimity, the vast majority of our resistance comes from the way we perceive people and the way we perceive ourselves among people, which is all tied into shame and self-doubt and so forth. So with equanimity, there's far, far less resistance to anything. It's more like a momentary effect of the mirrors of consciousness or something, but there's not much buy-in to it, and you don't identify with it as an individual person or as a person. So it is. So it is.